All right, we're going to call a meeting in order for May 19th. Harahan City Council, Madam Clerk.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain. Present. Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Wheeler.
Present.
Mayor Bodier.
Present.
Police Chief Walker.
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion is absent. City Attorney Scott Stanberry is absent. We have Bernie in his place. Municipal Clerk Kerry Huston is present. Mayor's announcements.
Yeah, you need some shades right there, yeah.
All right, guys, this is kind of what we've been doing. This is a little bit of last month and this month. We've been real busy, just trying to get some projects moving along here and getting some projects completed. So last Friday, we completed the Wilson Street project, which is probably the largest infrastructure sewer project that's ever been done in the city of Harahan. We covered the first block of Wilson Street right there. We replaced all the sewer, we pulled it out of people's backyards, put it in the front yard, right in the front street to where it was easy to work on and try to get it out of the power line servitude. It was a massive undertaking. The line had plenty failures in it, and it was a lot of work. I mean, it took days to just even to figure out where we were going with the project. We brought real geologists in. We were having soil issues that were, it was more of a river silt problem. We started the project in the very beginning. We started to put in some of the infrastructure, and the next day it was literally almost gone. So we had to go back to the drawing board right at the very beginning of the project. It didn't let us down on the difficulty, but we honestly believe that it went from the worst street in Harahan as far as sewer to the best. And we really think it's really important to move the city along and upgrade our sewer here. This is us working with the plant. So as we were trying to wrap up Wilson Street, we had a situation at the plant. One of the motors went out, and so of course all hands on deck. You know, everybody jumps in and becomes a part of what we're doing here. I can barely read what you got going on there, Brian. All right, so this is us at the plant. We're just going through. We're working with the Delta Regional Authority, trying to get some funding. We're working with DEQ right now, probably around 6.8 million in funding. We're looking for the grant, 4.9 from the water sector, 1.9 from EDA, and I think that the Senate will actually have a little bit of sewer money in for us this session as well. We've been really working hard in Baton Rouge, working with our representatives and our senators, and again, I will always tell you how fortunate we are to have Big John Hill and Kirk Talbot as our senator, Big John Hill as our state representative. The approximate cost in Ida, the approximate cost of the projects that we'll be working on in Ida is about $10,963,000. That will double what the project cost was in Katrina. You can go to the next slide. And in Katrina, just for reference, we did 28 projects of having to rehab or rebuild because of Katrina. Ida left us with 68. I know that a lot of people may not know, but Ida was a stronger storm. Katrina hit us at a 3, Ida hit us at a 4. And so we try to look at the pot of gold into every rainbow, and we know that we can fix a lot of things and do a lot of good work and try to make something good out of Ida. This is Harahan doing what we do. We supported the Making the World a Better Place with the lemonade stand at Harahan Elementary. They raised, I don't quite remember the figure, but I know it was over 2,000 that they were, the young students raised from St. Rita that ultimately went to the Harahan, to the Ukraine effort. It was incredible. It was fun to be a part of the event, and the kids were a blast, and man, it was just fun to be that part of community. It was just kind of really what we do and who we are and what we're really about here, bringing this community back to community and where we should be. This is a new initiative. We've been really starting to push forward. I have the council working on a resolution to put an ordinance in place so we can actually start getting a permitting process in, because we're having so much film here. I actually went up to Baton Rouge yesterday for film day, met with 2 of the local film studios. But just for reference, we had the channel shot here that Amazon's actually talking to, or may have already picked them up. What about Pam? leverage Clean Sugar Shoots here in City Hall. And with the funding that we've been getting from the film, we started a project working with a group called Young Audiences of Louisiana. So far, we've raised $28,000. People ask what film does for us. Well, we've raised $28,000 already. And what we're going to do with that money is we're going to supply them with the art supplies to go in and do projects throughout the city. You know, paint the boxes, paint the new fence that'll be along the sewer plant, and so we're really excited about working with Young Audiences of Louisiana. We went to their fundraiser; it was a great time, and I think it'll be a great thing supporting the arts with arts money. This is our, you know, we always want to talk about our city of champions. Brother Martin, state champions again. Tulane Southland Conference champions again. This is Brother Martin being recognized at the state legislature. I know there's a proud papa here because his son's standing up there getting recognized by state representatives and state senators. What an incredible day for Harahan again, especially because Brother Martin calls our bowling alley home as well as Tulane. And it's just, you know, one more step and the evolution of Harahan becoming the greatest city that it possibly can be. And that's about it. Thank you, guys. Any questions? Oh, wait, let's talk about this real fast. This is our Zorang Park initiative. As a mayor, and with this council, we've been kind of really bestowed with doing a lot of projects underground. Well, we chose one project to do above ground, and we chose the Zorang Park because Zorang Park was actually named after two military veterans that died in battle, the Zorang brothers, which still have family here in Harahan. And so this was us getting ready to honor them on their death at the tomb of the unknown soldier, laying a wreath down in their honor with the German general. And we actually got invited to go underneath the barracks and go see, you know, what they do to actually to prepare before laying the wreath. It was probably one of the most incredible, but I'll take that back. It was the most incredible honor that I've ever had as an elected official. And if we get this park, or when we get this park done, it will be incredible, and it will not only honor the Zorang brothers, but it will honor every local veteran. We've even had someone reach out just recently about, you know, honoring women veterans, so we think we're trying to incorporate now a new section to actually honor women veterans as well. We're super excited about this. This will be my legacy of my project above ground that I so wholeheartedly support and always want to recognize everyone who's paid the ultimate price for the freedoms that we have today. It's a great initiative. I'm truly excited about it and to be a part of it. Thank you.
Special presentations, Chief Walker, current state of the Harahan Police Department.
Yes, Mayor, Council, you and public, good morning, Police Chief. Been in office a little over 8 years now, and my number one priority has been our officers' safety. And where I'm going with this is that times have changed, especially in the last year, this current year. Assaults on police officers around the country is up even more than it was the last 2 years. People ask on traffic stops, they see 2 or 3 police cars. It's officer safety. It will continue to happen as long as I'm police chief. Officer stops a vehicle for a traffic violation. Other units that are working that day will respond to their call. Second thing, all our calls for service that go through 911 are dispatched for Jefferson Parish. Any type of call, whether it's police, fire, emergency medical, and we answer all these calls for service because we can get there faster than a fire truck or an ambulance, evaluate the situation and make sure it's a legitimate call and if extra services are needed. And again, you might see 2 cars, possibly 3 cars, pull up to make sure that the situation is under control. It's all about officer safety. And that's one of the things that today, what's going on in this country, it's unfortunate, but thankfully, the last 8 years, we have not had any officers seriously hurt. We had some minor injuries, but nothing serious, and I thank God for that. Second thing, see something, say something. I'm still getting calls from people, or running to people, say, you know, the other day, somebody was in my neighborhood that was suspicious. You need to dial 911 when you see this activity. Let us go out, check, make sure everything's proper. If not, there's no harm done, and possibly with your call, we could prevent a crime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to move, to amend the agenda to add Serge Villanova of Stranded South Music and Media under special presentations.
I have a motion by Councilman Asbill to move Serge Villanova under special presentations to Transit South Media will now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth will now close the public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are added to special presentations, Serge Villanova. Remind me when we get there. Madam Clerk.
How's everybody doing? My name
You
is
want to make a
Serge.
motion to amend the agenda? Go ahead, let me just let you go, Serge. Knock it out. Okay.
How you guys? How's everyone doing tonight?
Oh, shoot, I'm sorry.
And well, with hands-on assistance from
I thought we were going
people
back at
in the council, Mr. McKeon out in the crowd, and under your administration, Mayor Baudier, we've begun this great community-driven event that I think will reverberate for many years to come in the city of Harahan, and I don't think it could have happened at a better time than now. We renovated a week. The event is Saturday, May 21st, from noon to 6 at Zorang Park. Leading up to the festival, we've raised about 2,500 items of food and water for the St. Rita Food Pantry, a small food pantry that services families in need from the River Ridge and Harahan areas. Aside from this being a food drive, we've renovated a Hurricane Ida battered shelter over at Zorang Park. I'm very honored to play a small part in the renovation of bigger plans for that park and to do a small part in remembering those that deserve to be remembered. And we've created work opportunities for local musicians, local production workers like sound engineers, small businesses like Crescent City Graphics who printed all of our marketing materials. So we've helped the economy in a small fashion. And of course, we've raised around 2,500 items of food. Hopefully, we're going to break about 3,500 or 4,000 items of food and water for the St. Rita Food Pantry with the second annual Harahan Music Festival and Food Drive. And thank everyone very much for being a part of it and fueling it. And please tell everyone to come out to Zorang Park Saturday from noon till 6:30. We'll have Amanda Shaw, the Victory Bells, some New Orleans musicians like Andre Lovett, as well as Burris, not Burris, Burris, and an after party at Uncle Matt's where we'll sort of loosen our ties, so to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Serge.
Thank you. Thanks, Serge.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on April 14th, 2022.
Okay, can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Chatterley, second by Councilman Asbill. Will now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth will now close. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Reading of the minutes has been dispensed.
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on April 14th,
Can I have a motion to
2022.
approve those minutes?
Moved.
Motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. Will now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth will now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Reading of those minutes has been dispensed.
Communications. Reading of the minutes of the planning and zoning meeting on April 6th, 2022.
Okay, do we have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the planning and zoning meeting on April 6th?
Moved.
Mayor, I have a question regarding, I guess, the general meeting itself. And possibly, Maurizio, could you come up and, the question's real simple. You didn't have a quorum at the last meeting, is that correct?
The
May.
May meeting.
Yeah, the last meeting. I'm sorry, so it doesn't pertain to these minutes. This may not be the time to ask the question, but I'm just curious. You had 4 members in attendance, and 4 were absent, or 5? We still have a vacancy. That answers my question. Thank you very much.
Okay, do I have a motion to dispense
Moved.
with, motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler, will now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth will now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Reading of those minutes has been dispensed. Madam Clerk?
Approval of the minutes of the planning and zoning meeting on April 6th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Do I have a motion to approve? Move to approve by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. Will now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth will now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Those minutes have been approved. Madam
Re-
Clerk?
Reading of the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meeting on April 20th, 2022.
Okay, do we have a motion to dispense with the reading of the adjustments meeting on April 20th?
If, I've got a amendment to address to the minutes here. Is that
What?
now or during
I
the
didn't hear what
approval?
you said.
I've got an amendment to address on these minutes. Is that something I do now or during the approval? Do we know? Or does it matter?
No, I think we can just
Need
dispense
to
with the
do it.
reading, but we can do it in the approval process.
Okay, let's do that. Move to dispense.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain to dispense with the reading of the minutes. All in favor? Can we
Yay.
open for
Yay.
Public hearing, I'm sorry. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Okay.
Approval of the minutes of the Board of Adjustment meeting on April 20th, 2022.
Okay,
Council
so-
discussion.
Go ahead.
I've got an amendment on present. It should be two members that were present, Chairman Richard Kiddock and Andrew Case. It's got him listed as absent, but he was actually present. So I'll make the motion to amend to adjust the attendance report with Andrew Case showing as present.
I see a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend the minutes by adding Andrew Case as an attendee of the meeting on May 4th, 2022. Can I have a motion to approve that amendment?
I'm at to pull the
Motion.
videos to see if he was here.
He was here. All right. No one coming into the thing, all in favor? I mean, no
Yay.
one coming to the meeting, we'll now close public hearing, all in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Amendment is approved.
Move to approve as amended.
Now we're gonna move to approve as amended by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas. Minutes are approved as amended.
You sure he was here?
I'm positive. He called me.
Reading of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting on May 4th, 2022.
Okay, you can have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes on May 4th, Planning and Zoning for 2022.
Moved.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to public hearing. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Reading has been dispensed.
Approval of the minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting on May 4th, 2022.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Buddy, second by Councilman Wheeler. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor to
Yay.
approve
Yay.
those minutes?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk?
Resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2022-5. The following resolution was proposed by Councilman Asbill. A resolution providing for canvassing the returns and declaring the results of the special election held in the city of Harahan, state of Louisiana on Saturday, March 26, 2022, to authorize the levy of a sales and use tax therein.
Okay, we'll now open for public hearing. If anyone wants to discuss proposed resolution number 2022-5, no one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
Yeah, so this is the resolution that basically accepts the vote result of the election in March regarding the fire sales tax. This was drawn up by the bond attorneys or the election attorneys. So if you have questions, I don't know that I can answer them, but I will do my best.
Is this the one we deferred to correct the date?
That's correct, yes.
And I think the date's corrected.
It
right?
is, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Move to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to approve proposed resolution number
Second.
2022-5, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor? I'm sorry. We'll now open public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution is approved.
Proposed resolution number 2022-6. The following resolution was offered unanimously by the council. A resolution of the City Council of Harahan authorizing the mayor of Harahan to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the state of Louisiana pertaining to funding for emergency sewer collection and treatment system overhaul equipment acquisition. FP&C project number 50-MC1-21-01.
Okay, so we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed resolution number 2022-6? No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
So this got a call from Mr. Wallace. This is a resolution that the state is requiring. As you know, last session, there was $205,000 that was awarded through capital outlay for sewer infrastructure, and this is a CEA that the state needs signed in order to actually send that money. And I would assume that we want to actually receive that money, so
Yeah.
I would encourage a vote yes.
And just to build on what Councilman Asbill was saying, as we go to the legislature and we work with our local officials up there to get money, everything we do has to be approved back through by CEA, just so it creates a true transparent paper trail to where everyone can see, the process and how it's been allocated and where it has actually come from. So,
I have just a comment to make. I'm in complete agreement with the resolution, except I have a question regarding a technical issue. The CEA at 3.4 says, this shall not include operating expenses. The funding summary, the last page, Exhibit A, says the money's going to go to the general fund. So I just want to, I don't know if the state created this form and we're just approving what the state wrote.
So that's
I
coming
would
out
have
of,
thought it would have been a capital fund.
that's coming from the state's general fund.
Oh,
That is
okay.
their coding of where they're getting the money from.
Thank you.
Yes.
And just as another note, Mayor,
Yes, sir.
paragraph 6.1 says the entity, which I believe is Harahan, will solicit bids for the services. So just keep that in mind as we put this money to good use.
Bids?
Bids, yes, sir. With a capital B. You don't
Every
want to,
letter's not capitalized.
you just want to,
They didn't
dot
take
the
it far
i's
enough.
there, sir. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Yes, sir. Move to approve.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to approve resolution number 2022-6. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are approved.
Ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2022-1. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022, for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana, for Fire Department Vehicle Capital Expense.
Okay, we'll now open for public hearing. If anyone wants to speak on proposed ordinance number 2022-1, please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
This was proposed back in January, and since then, we've passed the sales tax, obviously, and you'll see that for first reading, we've got a couple of budget ordinances up for fire department sales tax stuff. So I would propose that we defer this and consider that altogether, because that will eventually be pulled from the fire capital line item. And hopefully that we're hoping to fund with some of the sales tax money.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to defer.
No?
Let me just discuss something real quick.
Sure.
So we're gonna defer this tonight and bring it back next month, or you want to defer this till later in the meet,
Defer this till the next month.
till next month?
Yes, when we consider the other budget ordinances that are on first reading tonight.
Okay, because yeah,
So-
I mean, I'll just be honest with you, the other stuff, I gotta get a few things cleared
Yeah.
on that, so we're gonna defer this tonight. I'll
Yeah.
second it.
Okay. So we have a motion to defer, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are deferred on proposed ordinance 2022-1. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2022-4. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman, what's it?
I'll second it.
Charlie Wheeler.
Who you put?
An ordinance approving the conditional re-subdivision plat of Lot A-2B-1B, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, into Lot A-2B-1C, Soniat or Chapatoulas Plantation subdivision, and lots 24 through 27, Colonial Place, Phase 1, all pursuant to a plan made by Ronald Clement, PLS, dated February 11th, 2022.
Okay, we'll now open for public hearing 2022-4. Anyone want to come speak on proposed ordinance 2022-4? Please step forward.
Hey, Danny McCarron, representing Colonial Estates. Just a quick peripheral before we say this, just because or go into this, is I wanted to take a minute to say that I've long held this position that, like, people can do things great without being elected. As a matter of fact, they're unburdened by the elected official position. You don't have to take calls. You don't have citizens. And I wanted to, like, say for the record, I truly appreciate what Serge has done bringing this in here, man. I've never tell you about. I truly, truly thank you. I mean, I love the fact you came in and did it. You stuck with it right in the middle of COVID, did it again, and man, I hope you keep doing this here, because I think it's got the potential to be really cool, and it's awesome to see. So thank you. So I'd asked, with regards to this, I'd asked Scott Tabery to put something together that I could read, not only on this specific conditional approval, but on also to just kind of give an update of where we're at out there. Everyone sort of sees the work happening, so these reading glasses are a new addition to my life. This is, Dear Mayor Bodier and City Council, I'm writing this letter to give an update on the construction and design for the conditional plats for lots 24 through 27 at Colonial Estates due to my absence from tonight's meeting. Currently, the design of the plans were completed for the conditional plats of 14 through 23, had contemplated for the extension of the sewer to service the future lots 24 through 27 is being asked for. The proposed sewer lift station has been designed to capture the service flows from lots 20 through 23 and 24 through 27 with gravity lines installed at the front of the proposed lots. From the lift station, sewer will then be pumped to the existing sanitary system that was installed with construction of the Blake Assisted Living Facility. With regards to a construction update, the majority of the sewer line has been installed. There is approximately 150 linear feet of gravity sewer still to be installed, which should be completed shortly. The lots have been graded, and an additional 11 drainage structures will be installed at the property frontages in order to facilitate the drainage of the lots into the subsurface drainage system. The drainage work is expected to be completed within the next 2 weeks. The last item that will be installed as a part of the construction of these improvements will be the electrical service for the lots and lift station. Once electrical is extended by energy to the lift station can be powered up and run to ensure the functionality of the pumps and the electrical equipment. Once the work on site is completed, the sewer system will be as built by the surveyor and certified by Duplantis Design Group prior to application for the final plot of lots 10 through 23 and 24 through 27. As-built drawings and necessary testing requirements will be submitted to the City of Harahan and the city engineer for final review and approval with submission of the additional final plat documents. So that's it. And I'm happy to answer any questions regarding these.
Danny, I was going to ask you, I unfortunately can't read
Yeah.
the fine print on the drawings provided to us.
Okay.
So I don't know if the drawings provide for what you just read that we're approving tonight, or do we have to amend this ordinance, if it's approved, to incorporate or make it subject to what's provided in this letter?
No, the letter doesn't have anything in addition to what's already on there. It's just.
It's already on there?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. I could not
Sure.
determine that. Thank you. One other question, which you may want to address now or in a few minutes, but I'm reading the letter from one of the Planning and Zoning members. It appears Planning and Zoning was looking at this with some requirements on the radius and some, I guess, landscaping. And I believe months ago, the decision on where the second ingress and egress road was going to be was waiting on the results from a traffic study. Have you received that traffic study?
We haven't, and the only thing I'd clarify is it wasn't as much that it was waiting on the results of the traffic study. That was the anticipation. However, what became clear to me after talking with the traffic engineer enough is that it's not going to have an effect regardless. It all dumps to Colonial. So it's not going to affect one way or the other, which is why we said, okay, well then let's take the rest of these.
So could you expand just for a moment what's going to happen? We've got a street,
Yeah.
a city street that cuts down the lane, and then you've got a private street that now goes on to the, I guess, the country club. What's going to happen to the city street?
Sure. So what we're, and Maurizio can clarify or anything I say to make sure it's what we discussed at Planning and Zoning. So what you have there on Club Drive is you have a street, Club Drive, that is an actual street, and then next to that you have kind of our property, which is private, which is technically the entrance to the country club, which starts way out on Colonial. And what we anticipate, or what we had initially proposed, was to have a setback, I believe, of 23.07 feet from the end of that, from Club Drive, and essentially give a 23.07 feet buffer to the first lot. Why that odd number is because that allowed that last lot to be 100 foot. So just for the sake of, you want to buy a 100-foot lot, here's a 100-foot lot. I think at the Planning and Zoning meeting, it was requested that, well, one, let me continue on that. And within that 2307, what we anticipate, the reason for that is twofold. One is to leave some vegetative buffer, because that will be a back exit to the subdivision and you want it to look nice. Secondly is to ensure that, in a very conservative way, that we have way more turn radius than need. So right now it's you know, of course we take the fire trucks into consideration. Who knows what else? Who knows, in the middle of a project, Jefferson Parish decides that, you know, a turn radius should be 50 foot, whatever. It's more than enough to anticipate for all that. And then, of course, like I said, a vegetative buffer. At the Planning and Zoning meeting, it was requested, I believe, Maurizio, that we make that 25 feet instead of 23.07. And my response to that is sure, that's fine. It makes the last lot a little smaller, doesn't matter. The only thing I'd say, just of an effort, out of just to make a point of clarity, is that I don't really even have an intention at this moment. In other words, this gets finalized, I probably won't sell that last lot in any rush, because I don't know, it goes down to this radius, landscaping, everything that goes along with it, what the final brick wall looks like. I may decide to make it bigger, is my point. I may decide to come back and say, look, I now want it to not be a 23-foot buffer, I might want a 50-foot buffer. And as long as I own that last piece, I can still do that. So I guess I should say that. I would say that whatever we talk about or y'all approve, I am, in my mind, thinking of it as a minimum. You know, if that makes sense.
It does.
Okay.
I'm sorry. And I have one more question, and it's not directly related to you, but Section 8 of this proposed ordinance says that this talks about the sidewalks may be located within the public right-of-way as permitted by Sections 14-311. And the question is, does the city have any right-of-way on Colonial? I thought it was a parish road. And so if it is a parish road, my assumption would be that any right-of-ways belong to the parish. And if this is not a city right-of-way, I'm not sure Section 8 belongs in there. I'm not opposed to what you're asking for, but I'm not sure it's up to the city to
Yeah, it's
grant
an
it.
interesting, I don't know if I've considered it before. Just for the sake of it, understand, so I can understand what you're saying is, if that's a parish road, I'm not even sure then it's a parish right-of-way. It's a good point.
So,
It's an interesting point, but let me address more, again, for the sake of clarity, just to be, not be misleading, on the side, ultimately about the sidewalk. So the intention here is to put the sidewalk per Harahan's code, which is in that right-of-way. And I'd state that, I've said this before, I'm not a fan of knocking down trees if I can avoid it. And so that if you really look at the code, so the property line ends up essentially where those trees are. So if you really wanted to make it, you'd be cutting a lot of trees. I'm not crazy about that idea, so the intention is to put it there between the trees, you know, in the road.
Again-
But I understand what you're saying is, it doesn't matter, I'm not even sure y'all can act on it. I'm more saying that just so it can be recorded that that's
Yeah.
my intention.
I'm not opposed to what you're proposing here.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's the city's
No, you're.
grant to give you or not.
So it
So I might want to suggest that we modify that to the extent this is a city right-of-way and not a parish right-of-way, the city grants
Well,
this.
this is basically just saying it's a public right-of-way,
Yeah, but
and then it's gonna follow Harahan code. It's not saying it's the city's right-of-way.
well, we're saying that it's going to be located within the public right-of-way. And if it's not a city right-of-way, we don't have the authority to grant that. Again, I'm not opposed to it, but if this is a parish right-of-way, we don't have a right to grant by ordinance the right for them to do this.
So would an amendment just saying in so much as the city has the right to grant such authority?
I'm happy with that. Again, I'm just saying I don't know that we have that right. I'm not opposed to it. So something with Councilman Asbill, as you just threw out, would be fine. I mean, I'd be agreeable with it, certainly.
Okay, we can move on. We'll get to council discussion, I think.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, anyone else?
Thank you.
Anyone else coming to speak? All right, no one else coming forward. You better get faster. You better get faster than that.
Maurizio, Planning and Zoning, just to clarify what Danny was saying about it's not that to take away land, it's fine to be 23, it's just the opening, just to have the instead of having a 90-degree angle there, just a curve, how it is now, for general access. That's basically, we weren't just saying to take away from Danny's potential of selling that corner lot, just basically he'll maybe lose an extra foot or two to create a curve. That's what we talked about in planning and zoning. That's all it really
Similar
was.
to what they have now.
Correct. Kind of keeping it the status quo of what it is right now, and just making it a curve and not such a hard corner, because just to get general ease of use for that corner. That's basically it. That's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, no one else coming to speak forward. We'll now close public hearing, council discussion. Councilman Asbill?
Yeah, move to amend line 112, section 8, to insert the words at the very beginning, insomuch as the city of Harahan has the authority to grant such, comma, delete the word that, the sidewalk for lots 24 through 27. So it shall read from here, insomuch as the city of Harahan has the authority to grant such, comma, the sidewalk for lots 24 through 27, only place base 1 shall be 5 feet located within the public right of way.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to amend ordinance 2022-4. We have a motion by Councilman Buddy, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Buddy. We'll now open the public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays to amend proposed ordinance 2022-4. Okay, now we're looking for the acceptance of 2022-4. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Buddy. We'll now open the public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor for proposed ordinance number 2022-4?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is approved. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2022-5. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Wheeler and seconded by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for a city vehicle.
Okay, we'll now open public hearing for proposed ordinance number 2022-5. Anyone coming to speak, please come forth. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing and council discussion on proposed ordinance 2022-5. Council discussion.
My only comment, Mayor, is that the budget line item increases for $60,000. The the bid total is for $62,835. I don't know if that's significant, I'm just pointing it out.
I believe our actual invoice price is gonna be $60,375.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not looking
This
at,
is the MSRP, but then
Thank
you
you.
get discounted.
I
and
got
this,
you.
This and this. So actually, you're still $375 short.
Or 274.
I'll pay it myself.
so,
No, I'll,
I mean, I don't know that the estimate, the quote, has to match the increase to the penny. I just pointed out that it doesn't, and if anybody wants to, we can conform the two.
And I think it does, and I think there is a 5% leeway.
Oh, no, yeah, it's got at the very end, it's 52,939, 60,375, but then he got minuses.
Yeah, it's 60,375.
So it's 52,939, 13.
Well,
so,
So this is the selling price, which would be tax title and.
okay, no,
Right.
I didn't flip to that page.
Yeah, but you're still gonna have a title and.
That doesn't count?
in
That
there.
doesn't count, tax violation on this?
No, it don't count, Craig.
Yeah.
But you won't have tax, so it'll just be some some title cost, which
all right,
will be
I'm gonna,
a few
I'm gonna
hundred
propose
bucks.
an amendment that we increase the line item to $65,000,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed $65,000 to ensure we cover the whole cost of the vehicle.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend proposed ordinance 2022-5 from 60,000 to 65,000. We'll now open the public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor on the amendment? All
Yay.
in favor of the
Yay.
amendment?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is amended. All right. I'll now
And
call-
this is for you, Mayor?
The vehicle?
Yeah, what is it for, the purpose of it?
Right, it's for the mayor's use?
Right. And the purpose for it is just because we've been, we in Baton Rouge two times.
So it's.
I know, I just want the public. I know.
Yeah, just didn't
I mean, it's
specify in
not
here.
just gonna be for
Yeah.
the mayor.
Okay.
You know, and just for, to put things into perspective, like,
It's not exclusive.
this session alone, we're working on a grant for, right at 5 million for the sewer system. I've literally been there some weeks, 3-4 times a week, working on that grant, working with DEQ and the co-chairs of that committee, Senator Reese and, Chairman Jerome Zorang. We've been working with them furiously on that, as well as I've been working with Senator Talbot on, learning and getting a centrifuge system for the plant and 2 new bubblers. So he's also has an additional 450 allocated for us. So I figure, the 60 we got
Okay,
for the
yeah.
transportation would easily be covered by the almost 6.8 million that I'm gonna bring in this year.
Move to approve as amended.
So, thank you.
Well,
I-
just
that was
one
just
other
one
comment. You
clarification, 'cause it didn't say
said
anything,
there,
that's
you
all.
mean Baton Rouge 3 or
Yes,
4
sir.
times a week. Thank you.
So, it has been a difficult session, but a very fruitful session, and so,
Move to approve as amended.
all right.
Just a clarification, that's
So
all.
I have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler to move to approve as amended. We'll now open public hearing. Anyone wanting to come discuss? We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2022-6. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Wheeler.
Wheel?
An ordinance approving the final re-subdivision plat of Lot A-2B-1C, Soniac or Chapatoulas Plantation Subdivision, City of Harahan, Parish of Jefferson, State of Louisiana, pursuant to a plan made by Ronald Clement, PLS, dated March 18th, 2022.
Okay, we have, we'll now open public hearing. Anyone wanting to discuss proposed ordinance number 2022-6?
Slow down.
Cold down there?
The sun went down, it cooled off. Okay.
Danny McCarron, representing, I guess, what would be Lot A2D. So this is essentially me just asking for this lot to be carved out of the larger lot to face Forte, or to, utilize the services on Forte Lane, to build a personal house. I'm here to answer any questions anyone has.
So your intent here is to use the current services that are on the property. Eventually, will you connect those to your new services?
The current sewer and stuff you're tying into right now with a
The
clubhouse.
sewer,
was.
yeah, the sewer. specifically.
Correct.
Eventually, do you plan on
Well,
tying that into your?
Whether I tie in where the clubhouse is or where the lines are that aren't,
On Force,
right,
I'm sorry, what was that?
on Forte.
they already have sewer services on Forte, which is the
Right.
backside of
So,
the lane.
yeah, whichever one it makes sense to tie in to the city is what I would do now. And in the future, I'm certainly not against that if that makes sense. Well, I'm trying to think of any, as I'm sitting here, I'm trying to think of any reason I would not do that.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and say this on the record. I'm comfortable with you tying in this one lot right here into either one of them lines.
Yeah.
Don't come back and ask for another one.
Well, it is,
I'm just telling you, I mean.
that's
I
okay.
mean, we had more sewer there with the clubhouse than what you're gonna be dumping there with a single-family resident.
Right.
And I'm basically saying, if it handled that clubhouse, it's handling what's there now, it's gonna handle your one house. But if you come back and wanna put 16 more houses in here and tie into that, it doesn't matter what you do, I'm gonna be a no vote.
Okay. And that's okay. The only thing I'd say to that is for whatever it's worth, the amended development agreement did anticipate that if the line was inspected and approved and could accept it, that it would accept, I don't remember it, it actually has a specific number on the ADA. Whatever the number is, it was in excess of 10. But I'll save that for another day. But fair enough. I hear where you're coming from, and for what it's worth, I don't want to tie into a line that doesn't work. you know?
Nobody's gonna want it, the
Right.
value of your property's gonna go down.
Right.
basically. If it can't handle it, the property
And,
value.
and I do think ultimately that again, this is sort of our town hall meeting. The anticipation for the future would be, I'm not gonna say it's a complete moot point, but it probably becomes sort of a moot point because of the fact that now we are doing the 27 lots, and that lift station that is a hella-built lift station. That is a for real lift station. That lift station in that back is deeper and will be more powerful than that front lift station. So point being is, at this point, I don't even think I'll need, Danny, speaking as Danny, not Colonial, I could anticipate that JW Colonial probably won't need that ADA, but I don't know. Or that portion of the ADA, I think it's gonna end up going into that eventual lift station.
Right, and basically the whole deal is, I'm not looking to piece this, you
Yeah.
just keep tying them in, which I know you don't want that either.
I don't want it either.
I'm just saying it so the public will hear it.
Yeah, I don't want it either, and I'll go so far as to say, to just go further on this particular lot, it is an effort to, get something kind of large started out there, get something high value, get something that looks towards what I anticipate the eventual interior lots to look like.
So, a couple of comments. One is, I share the concerns from the council's perspective, at least mine and Eric's, of putting sewerage for the 17 houses on here into the existing system. The city is spending upwards of planned north of $6-7 million to get sewerage improvements through the Wilson line to the plant. There are no planned improvements for the sewer system that you're going to tie into. And while it handled it in the past, years have gone by, our system has not improved, it's deteriorated. So it would make perfect sense from where I'm sitting to say those houses should go into the lift stations that you have put on to this JW has put on this property, down Colonial to Wilson. I don't see any logical reason to stress a system in the city that's not got any improvements planned. And I thought when the ADA was amended, there was going to be a study. Has that study occurred?
I don't think they
I would ask
plan on
y'all,
tying anything
yeah.
into that yet.
Well,
So
we're
I don't
tying
think-
one in, and we're tying one in now.
And that's why I'm saying I'm okay with
Well,
this one. I'm
well,
not looking
but
at
I'm
any of the
asking,
other
has the
ones.
study been done? I'm not, it's not a criticism, it's just a question.
Oh, I don't know, not from me, no.
I don't think the study
Not
has
from
been done.
JW or.
Okay, okay, so, all right, do you, speaking for JW, if you're in a position to, on this question, I know you can speak for JW, do you plan on doing that study in the near future?
For this one lot, no. Although, beyond this, yes. So if I were to tie more in, if we were gonna come with something, we would. We would, yeah, we definitely would, but no, for this one, I do not intend to.
So
I just view it as another house on this line.
So what I believe was put in place originally when we talked was they were gonna do a study on this, because they originally decided they were gonna do some lots back here prior to the front.
Right.
So they're gonna do the study on this and possibly have a valve to where they could turn it and convert it to their facilities, because they thought this project might happen before the front projects.
But I
That's
don't
the way
think that,
remember-
I don't think that verbiage, what you just said, it was discussed, I don't think it got into the ADA,
Oh, I think it's in there.
you think?
Yeah, either
They was
way,
gonna have a valve to where you could reroute this to your new sewer that was going into the
yeah,
facility.
they did actually have some language in there that contemplated the future use of it converting onto the front.
Right, it was gonna be a temporary deal until the prior sewer line.
And like I say, I don't want too far down, but with that new lift station that we're installing, once it's powered up, there's gonna be no reason to even us want to tie in to.
Correct.
And let me just jump in a little bit further, just because I've been working on Wilson Street, and your line is actually tying into Wilson Street, and, I mean, if I'm you, I want to literally tie into the best brand-new line
Sure.
that the city has to offer. I mean, that is a humongous selling point for any other development on that property.
Sure.
So, I mean, and that's where I'm thinking you're going, that's where we're all thinking you're going here, I'm pretty sure that's where you're thinking you're going. I mean, you've been in the trenches with me, we know what's out there and what's happening.
Yeah,
And
no, that's
the
exactly
work-
right.
The work we're working on right now also, to get that second line to the station, no matter which way you go, that second line, it goes through 6 to the new line.
Right.
So it alleviates all of that. So it doesn't matter which one you go to, there's one or two houses, go this way here, it's still gonna go through the new line that's gonna go to this plant eventually.
I'm losing you. What we're proposing today, or what the developer's proposing today, is this will not go through the new line, correct?
It will not go through the Wilson Street line. It will go through, when 6 gets pumped straight to the plant, which we're working on all of this grant money stuff for,
Yeah, but it doesn't,
that would all go through that new line
there,
from 6.
yeah, but getting it there.
Right.
There
Yeah,
are
it
no
does not go through
improvements,
Wilson.
there are no improvements
None.
between this proposed lot that we're addressing today and
Agreed.
6.
I agree with you.
So that's just, an older, stressed, with no improvements planned facility.
Yeah, and I'd even go, just to add color to it, I would even probably, if we knew exactly what the back 13, part of building this, part of when we first came, gosh, me, whatever, 3 years ago now, the idea was to first lay out these 13 lots in the back to see, am I the only dummy out there to come build a 10,000 square foot house in Harahan? Or can I get more dummies to come do this,
There'll
right?
be more dummies.
I think there will be too. And so the thought process was that, and then I think once this is established and we know that, then, okay, we can make that line. And I say that to say, or else I would just do the line right now. Because the only reason I don't do that right now is the entire plat's
You got other infrastructure.
not finished, right? Other infrastructure is gonna get in
You
the
don't
way
wanna
of
do it
this.
twice.
I want to not do what I think, and try to not be critical of, 8 years ago, but like, I want to not do something and then have to redo it later. I'd rather know it. And yes, I will be installing the sewer on this line specifically to be able to tie into the new one. And to Mayor Baudier's point, that's exactly my thought process is I feel safer going to my own lift station. Well, not safer, better, whatever we want to call it, less of a burden. Newer, it's newer stuff, right?
I'd feel safer if I could
Yeah,
tie it.
it's newer stuff, so that's essentially what I want to do here. And quite frankly, if my best friend and wife, Christine, keeps drawing on this thing, may never get around to building it by the time the new line's in anyway, so.
So
Thank you, Christine.
currently, what we're you're asking us to approve tonight has you tying into the existing sewer line for the country club? Or does it?
Yeah, actually, at this point, it doesn't, just as anybody on a final approve, I don't know exactly where I tie in, but it's either as I stand up here thinking, it would either be that line or the Forche house line.
Either way, Forte and
Yeah.
that line ties
It
into
all
the same
ties up to
one.
the same
So you're
thing.
basically
Right.
just paying for a new sewer
I'm
tap
just hesitant
on
to say I'm
Forte.
definitely tying in
Right.
there because it, again, it may not
Well,
make sense.
And my point being that what we're, and I apologize, technically, I
Actually-
don't know how to put it. This will run through, what we're approving today runs through Imperial Woods sewerage.
Yes, eventually, yes.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
In short order.
And you know, an interesting point is, I'm just thinking, you know, what's the most likely thing it would tie into? There was the old tennis club building.
Mm-hmm.
That tennis club building had a toilet?
Bathroom
Yeah,
facility.
bathroom facilities. That's probably the line we would grab onto. I just don't even know where that line goes. We'll,
It's gonna go to Forte.
Yeah.
that goes to the porch? Yeah, most likely, right? So,
Colonial goes to Forte, the clubhouse goes to
right,
Forte.
so that's most likely what I would tie onto. Again, we'll video it and I'll make sure it's right, but that's probably the one that makes most sense.
So,
Actually, this could be a renovation.
so again, if the ADA, as Eric recalls and you recall, I believe, we're approving something on a permanent basis here that's not in compliance with the ADA, potentially. Because we're not tying it into the new line.
No, the ADA, my understanding is that it was gonna allow to tie in not only this one, but an additional, I don't have the
13, I
ADA,
think
but
it
like,
was.
it's at least 9
It
more.
was 13 total.
Yeah, I think it was 13, so it was, but yeah, no, the ADA actually definitely anticipated this approval. My opinion.
Subject to the,
With the option to redirect it through
Yep.
the,
Right, that's right.
well, it was subject to shooting, videoing the sewer line.
So as a city, Tom, and I think this is where you're going, as a city, we will get in before we allow him to sewer tap in, and he'll go in and tap. We'll come in ourselves and we'll film that line, and we'll look at it on the city side and make sure it is permittable.
But I
And
mean,
if it's
are you
not
gonna-
permittable, we'll
You're
have
gonna
to be-
shoot it to Sixth Street?
What-
I mean, to lift station 6?
We'll film as much as we
No.
can. It's,
no,
You-
you're not gonna
I
film
would,
it all the way to.
I would
No, but we'll
anticipate that when I
film 'em.
come forward with my plans, they will, you know, it'll show where I'm tying in, and at that point, that line has to be, I have to verify that I can tie into that.
Right.
And at that point, that's when the city has the obligation to say, yeah, that's the right spot, or no, this is the right
I
spot.
mean,
Just
I
like,
would
a-
say the city would only film that to the Colonial where it breaks off.
That's what I would
Colonial
think.
well,
Club.
and this, I would probably extend the filming on this one a little bit longer, just because I want a surety of what we look like, and it's not, the camera's very little, you just follow the trail of manholes.
And we saying film, she's already got that film.
Yeah, most of it's already filmed, to be
She
honest.
just
with
gotta go pull the records.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we'll look, we'll see how many fractures, we'll see what the capacity is. I'll even bring DDG in and let them, I said DDG, right? I'll even bring them in with me, and we'll look at it together, and with our engineers as well, just to make sure we think that the pipe is in good enough shape to handle any kind of additional flow. I'm very curious to find that out myself, but
So, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is what I understand it. You're not committing for any of the additional up to 17 houses, including this lot. You're envisioned currently 17 lots. I know that's subject to change. Including this house, you're not envisioning necessarily for that to go through the new line on the JW Colonial property to the lift station on Jefferson Highway and Colonial down the new line to Wilson. You're not making that commitment.
I actually think the anticipation would be the right word, would be that we would tie all these new ones directly into this new lift station.
But you're not in a position to commit to that.
No. No, I don't even know how many or what it is, but no. But that's what I anticipate.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, I would think that's what you anticipate. That's gonna bring more value to your property.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Maurizio, Planning and Zoning. For this ordinance, I would hope the council would approve this. Did come before Planning and Zoning. We did not have a quorum. If I had an option or to vote, I would vote to pass this. We had a pretty good turnout. We had about 5 or 6 residents who came out, spoke to Danny about this project, and this is pertaining to this particular property, not to whatever else. This would be the final the final for this particular plat. So unfortunately, we didn't have a quorum, and I addressed y'all individually or to get collectively, making sure we can reach out to these other members to come out. But I would vote for passing this. There's a lot riding on this piece of property. Talking privately with Danny, I think we should, my recommendation would be to approve this ordinance today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Foster Wade, 548 Ashland. Just to add to Maurizio's thing, I was there that evening with the 4 to 5 other people. Everybody was there, was in favor of this. There was no anybody have any objections to it. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no one else coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing on proposed ordinance 2022-6. We'll now call for the vote.
Wait,
I actually-
council discussion.
Yeah.
So,
Council discussion?
so because there was no meeting, I
That's
have
where
a
that's
necessary
where I'm-
amendment. And I'll just read that amendment and then propose that we adopt it. On the second whereas paragraph, it should read, whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Harahan did not meet at its meeting scheduled for May 4th, 2022, and therefore made no recommendation of said plan of re-subdivision. And then delete the next whereas paragraph where we either accept or reject
So
the recommendation.
do we state why?
No, you don't have to.
We don't have to, but we can,
Yeah.
because it did not have a quorum. Yeah, sure.
I actually
Whereas-
like to get a legal on that, being that it was no fault of the property owner, but they didn't have a meeting. Are we able to still vote on it even though they never had their meeting?
So planning is only a recommendation.
Right, I understand
I mean,
that.
we voted on stuff that they didn't recommend
Right,
prior
right,
to
we
this.
voted
But
on
we
that they
always
didn't
had the
recommend.
recommendation.
Correct.
Or not, yea or nay.
Correct. And that's my only concern, is the legality of it.
My understanding is the council can adopt or reject the recommendation.
Right.
That's right. 'Cause it's
But
just-
we don't have the
But if
recommendation.
they didn't recommend, if they didn't have a quorum to have a meeting,
I would have to discuss that. I'm sitting here today, I don't see anyone based on that.
and I have no problem with this at all. I'm concerned about the legality of it, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Jason, you want to jump in on, I mean, on my interpretation, it's an advisory board, and we can either deny, accept, or continue to move forward, whether they have a quorum or not. It's an advisory board, and it's our decision to make,
Yeah, I mean,
or your decision to make whether we move forward or not.
Right, and
yeah.
I'm not taking away
My-
from, like,
My discussion
Right.
would be is that had we not given them the opportunity to meet, then it would be a different story. But they had the opportunity to meet, and they didn't meet the quorum
Yeah.
requirement. And so I would propose we move forward, but I know you
Yeah.
want legal on it, but.
well, because I know in the past, we've always extended the
Deferred.
vote,
So
right, deferred the
I'm
vote
gonna
until
I'm
we
gonna go as
actually.
far as to say, I've spoke to our city attorney. We didn't bring this up directly with this, but he knew the situation and he didn't tell me not to vote on it. But he knew they didn't make a recommendation.
Right. So you
So-
didn't say it was okay to vote on it, but you didn't not say.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get direct to that question, but
Right.
I mean, I would think if he thought it was a problem, he'd have said, guys, y'all can't vote on this. That's just my opinion.
And if it's any consolation, I think we have moved forward with the vote before without a recommendation
Yeah.
on another.
I don't recall that the
It's always been a
council has
recommendation,
done that.
whether it was yea or nay, we always had one to move on.
I know the city council has deferred.
Right.
See, I believe one
Previously.
time.
I think we did.
I believe one time the planning and zoning deferred and did not make a recommendation. And and it came in front of the council, and the council voted on it because some people from planning and zoning were very upset about it. But, I mean, if you didn't show up for the meeting, you can't be upset about us voting on something.
So I move to amend. Just get the, if we can just get the amendment
So we have a
through.
motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to amend as stated. Do you want to restate the amendment?
I will.
I'll
Okay.
second his.
Second whereas statement should read, whereas the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Harahan did not meet at its meeting scheduled for May 4th, 2022, because it had no quorum, and therefore made no recommendation of said plan of re-subdivision, and then delete the next whereas paragraph.
Okay, so we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on the amendment for proposed ordinance 2022-6?
Again, Danny McCarron. I guess just to, again, be totally clear, I want to, just in case anyone thinks I'm okay with deferring, I want to specifically ask y'all to vote on this, up or down. I would think not only did I follow the rules, this specific, what do you call it when we send out the letters, whatever. It was expensive for this because I had to send out letters to not just the people that are within 500 foot of this tennis court lot. Actually, I had to send it to the entire Colonial Golf Course because technically we're re-separating that. So it was fairly extensive and expensive. Not looking to duplicate those efforts. And then on top of that, I think I even went beyond and above and beyond with, kind of a new thing is I'm putting my own sign in addition to what Harahan has its signage it's going to put out there. I actually put my own larger sign stating, I guess all I'm trying to say is I really have gone above trying to not hide anything. Hey, this is what we're doing. So I would ask y'all to vote on it.
Yeah. Oh, we're still.
And again, just to add to what Danny was saying, again, I would strongly, with the amendment, pass this. Yes, he is correct. Colonial Lane, Glenwood Drive, over 140 properties were sent out. All notifications were sent out. Full notification was given to all those properties. So I would strongly recommend passing this, passing it with the amendments.
I'm gonna ask a question. You were here. We didn't have a meet. You didn't have enough people.
Right.
You discussed with the people that were here. Did anyone come here opposing this property?
No.
Not one person.
No, even the 4 that showed up, we were just discussing it kind of like y'all do just before the meeting, just kind of, hey, what's going on? And after I waited about 15, 20 minutes, then ended the meeting or whatever. And we just sat here for about 15, 20 minutes with the residents, talking to Danny, showing the plans, what he proposed. And it's a lot of the regulars who we've seen in this council who have, were not too happy about, Colonial in the past and what was going on, but they were fine with it. I'm not going to name names. We all know who they are. But they were all pretty comfortable with Danny. Danny has always been transparent with me. If I have a question, concern, I can pick up the phone, call him.
So
I think the process and the way I run my board is very transparent. I want people to talk, and no one here seemed to, we were all right here just talking.
So question for you and maybe even the city clerk, we've talking about notice. Just to be clear, the Planning and Zoning Board also received notice of the meeting,
Everyone,
right?
yes.
Okay.
Everyone was notified. We had packets, email chain, everyone, no
Thank you.
no other concerns.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
No one
And
else
again,
coming-
just on the legal part, I just want to make sure you don't have a problem with doing this for the,
If the notice requirement wouldn't have been met, I would probably have a problem with it, but I see no issue.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just add the extra comment that, we've talked about as a council and a mayor, we wanted to be pro-business, pro-development in the city, and I think to penalize a developer or
I
penalize
I
anybody in the
agree.
city,
I agree.
when they follow the rules, we
Right.
should do everything we can to help them move forward.
I just want to make
So,
sure legally we feel comfortable.
I move on the amendment.
Okay, so a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler to amend ordinance 2022-6 as stated by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance is amended.
Move to adopt as amended.
All right, so we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to move to adopt as amended. Do I have a
Wait,
second?
wait.
Second by
Wait,
Councilman?
just
I'm sorry.
council discussion.
All right, you want to
Okay.
And my only comment is, I'd like to see this go forward. I'm not opposed to it in principle, but I am concerned about the lack of certainty on the sewerage issue. So for that, I'm opposed to it. So,
Anyone else? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
All opposed?
yeah, opposed.
1 nay, 4 yeas. Ordinance passes. Madam Clerk?
Proposed ordinance number 2022-7. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Chatelain. An ordinance providing for the levy within the city of Harahan, state of Louisiana, of a 0.8% sales and use tax upon the sale at retail, the use, the lease, or rental, the consumption, and the storage for use or consumption of tangible personal property, and upon the sale of services in said city, and for the assessment, collection, payment thereof, and the dedication of the proceeds of said tax, and the purpose for which the proceeds of the tax may be expended, said tax having been authorized at a special election held in the city on March 26, 2022.
Okay. Public hearing is now open for anyone wanting to come speak on ordinance 2022-7. Please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
So this is the corresponding ordinance, the resolution we passed earlier that accepted the vote. This is actually the, what actually levies the tax, and is sent on to the sheriff for him to have authority to collect the tax as the tax collector in the parish.
So, Councilman Asbill, I have a couple of questions, and you may be able to answer them.
Perhaps.
The form we're using here, is it has there been an authority review it?
Yes.
I don't know
this-
who proposed
This was
it.
also completed by the bond attorney and election attorneys at Foley Jadell.
Thank you. And this is not directly related to the proposed ordinance, but do we have any, have there been discussions with the sheriff on the timing of his collection? What he needs to do to prepare to modify tax forms or modify his accounting system? And if those have occurred, do we have a time frame on when the city might start collecting money?
We do. So talked to Todd Turnion, Finance Director, last week about it. There's a couple of moving parts here. The sheriff is prepared to go ahead and amend everything and start collecting, but he needs this to do that. And so once we send him this, he will formally start that process, but they're already starting it on the back end. And Todd St. Cyr and I and Todd Turnion in the city, we've told him, let us know what resources you need from us to make sure businesses are aware of this so they can start changing their systems. But as far as collection goes, we will have 5 months of collection in this year. And that is because we'll recognize 5 months of collection in this year. So we cannot count this as a receivable, a revenue, until the first month would be August. So the business will start collecting it in July. However, we cannot receive it, we cannot recognize it as a revenue until the sheriff collects it, which would be in August. And so
Before we receive it, Todd's in a position to collect it? I mean, to recognize it on Harahan's books? Or do we need a cash receipt?
No, we can recognize it as a revenue in August. And although we would receive that revenue, actually cash in the bank
Right.
in September.
September, possibly October,
September.
is a discussion I had.
So I
It's
think,
different than the discussion I had, but
so when I
okay.
spoke to Todd Turnigan, what he said was, it all depends on when the businesses turn their sales tax money into the sheriff. So to actually, that's August, September, October, that's where it's, because if they start collecting it in July, let's say they don't turn it into the sheriff till August 15th, and then they have to process it and no hiccups, it could hit us September 1st, it could be September 15th, that was where, could it be October? I mean, it could, but I mean, that's pending,
But
if
that's,
there was any hiccups, but I
and
think
a
that was.
but that's money in the bank. We can recognize the July receipts, sales tax
Sales
receipts
tax
as
receipts.
August revenue. And that would give us August, September, October, November, December, 5 months of revenue from the sales tax.
It's gonna be 5 months of revenue, I
Yes.
agree.
Projected revenue, that'll be
just
in
not
by
gonna-
the
you
end
might
of the
not
calendar
receive
year.
it.
5
Yes,
months
may
of
not
projected
receive it,
revenue.
Correct,
I-
till maybe
I,
September.
I'm just not clear on whether the city's on an accrual basis for sales tax collections. And if Todd said that we can recognize in August, July's receipt by the sheriff's department, then I suspect it's appropriate. I wasn't aware that the city was on an accrual
Yeah,
basis.
it would be July sales tax receipts recognized
Not
in
August.
August, yeah. Yeah, I would assume he's right
That-
as well.
That question and the clarity on that, and I'll reach out, talk to Todd a little bit and ask him a couple of
Right.
more technical.
exact
It's
date
not
of-
really pertaining to the passage of this,
Right.
what you told me, and it gives me great confidence the bond attorney prepared it, so we can rely on the appropriateness of the form.
Correct.
And
For the
resolution.
actual date of when the cash comes to the city, that's where it's a little gray, depending on when businesses turn it into the
And I
sheriff.
understand that the
Right.
timing of getting it collected by the sheriff and then getting it processed in a check to us.
And then to us,
And,
correct.
and this question really pertains to something we're gonna be discussing next month, which is amendment of the budget.
budget.
So I've got a month to get a little comfort with that, but thank you.
Thank you. Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by,
Second.
second by Councilman Wheeler. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. And can I ask for a point of personal privilege? I would like a council person to amend the agenda to address the council to, right to now before ordinances for introduction.
I thought you were gonna recognize the first lady of Harahan.
Not
I
yet.
see you back there.
Not yet.
I'll move.
I'll move.
I have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler to amend the agenda to address the council to right before ordinances for introduction. And, because I'd like to, two people, I certainly want to recognize someone in this office who's been very instrumental in helping me in the city, and that is Dwayne Munch. He is here with Councilman District 2's office. Y'all, when I want to talk about, when I call this man, he is the most responsive person I've talked to at Jefferson Parish. He is in the streets with me every day. We have worked on tons of drainage issues all around the end of Hickory and the canal. We've actually, and I don't know if you've been out to see it, but they've actually repaired and re-put in a brand-new culvert on a problem a lady's been having for about 4 years. And I can, I want to thank Dwayne Munch for helping me get that and make that happen, as well as getting all of the new people out for the drainage department to come out and help us try to figure out what's the rest of what's going on back there, because we do know some issues. So I just want to personally say thank you. I want to recognize you for coming to this meeting. It is an honor. You're my friend, and he is a friend to this city, you guys. And he's a resident as
Resident
well.
of the city.
And he's a resident.
Thank you.
It makes it better. And so address the council is now open. Ms. Beverly, if you want to come forth, I pulled it up because I see you back there. I'm losing you. I wanted to bring you up. Because Ms. Beverly has some exciting news here.
Beverly Brooks, and I live on West, and I'd like to know what can be done about the racetrack that is West Avenue.
So Ms. Beverly and I have been, we've been out there, and Councilman Asbill and Councilman Chatterley, and we have literally been out there where cars have literally ramped up the side of her car into the street. I mean, they've hit several things over there. From what I understand, the police actually even put the sign out there, the speed limit sign, and from,
And that was run over
yeah, was,
and
yeah.
broken.
Yeah.
We had video from my next door neighbor. I don't know if anything was ever followed up with that, or if that person was ever caught, but they broke it and drove away. And they had to run off of the street into the grass to break it. We have a couple families on the block that have autistic children, young children. My car was totaled last February in front of my house. I just happened to be sitting in the living room with the door open and watched it happen. When she hit my car, she accelerated and flipped her van. My daughter, who was pregnant at the time with my grandson, and my 3-year-old granddaughter was riding her tricycle in front of my car maybe 30 minutes before this happened. About a month or two after that, 4 houses down, lady that works for Jefferson Parish, her car got totaled or hit in front of her house. My neighbor to the left of me has lost 2 cars. 3 houses down, her mother's car was taken out and the kid ended up almost on her front porch. They fly up and down the street all day, every day. It's mostly people that are dropping their kids off at school and wanting to go to work because West Avenue is the one that cuts through. But it's not just them.
I was going to say, it's not
It's
them.
not
It's
just
not
them.
man. It's your neighbors. It's not the people driving through.
So
It's your
what's
neighbors.
really
I've sat out
unique
there, I
about
watched
Miss
them.
Beverly Street, and this is why I asked her to come to the council meeting, what's very unique, it's just kind of where you hit the street. It's almost kind of like a turn, like as if you're hitting a berm at Indy 500, right? And you just kind of come around this thing, and natural progression, I think you honestly just pick up speed, and before you know it, there's actually a car in a way, and there's no stopping at this point.
Right.
And this is what she asked me, and this is what I don't know, and this is why I've asked her to come speak. We'd like to put a speed bump in the street.
Please.
I mean, we'd like to come up
Please.
with some kind of solution here, because, I mean, we can't continue to go on. The city is now aware of a massive problem, and I think that now we need to do something that needs to.
We need
if
to do
not
something
speed bump,
before a kid
We're
gets
gonna
killed.
put a speed bump on every street in Harahan?
Yeah.
Because I
that's what we
guarantee
need.
somebody on every street in Harahan could come here and tell you they speeding.
Well, I mean, I don't know, we could take it on a case-by-case basis. I mean, we gotta do something, because
What
doing nothing
needs,
is
what
not the
needs to
answer.
happen?
Increased traffic enforcement.
That's it.
Increase
We need to
traffic
talk to the
control.
chief. We need to increase traffic patrol. Write a ticket. I don't care where you live. Write them a ticket,
I would love to.
you know?
Give me a ticket book and let me add them.
There you
I
go.
thought
You
you
got
were
a
saying
reserve
sometimes.
deputy.
But here's what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a kid killed out there.
If you put a
I
speed
hope it's
bump,
not mine.
you
I
put a
hope it's
speed
not
bump,
my
someone
next-door
hits the
neighbor.
speed bump, runs off the road, the city's got a liability issue.
How is that a liability issue as opposed to failure to maintain control of their car?
It's both.
In this world, being wrong doesn't mean you're not sued. and
Okay, well,
lose.
if not a speed bump, then we need to do something.
I mean, other
Somebody
communities
needs
do
to
it.
do something.
I mean, other communities do it. I mean, I don't know how they get away with it, but,
You said it's mostly in the morning, is it afternoon?
It's all day.
It's all day.
It's all
Yeah.
day.
y'all, it's wild. I'll be honest with you, so, you
And I
know,
didn't mean to laugh, because.
No, that's okay.
I live right by St. Rita, and my street's the cut through too.
Right, so you understand.
So I mean,
It's,
like, I agree, it's probably everywhere,
It is.
you know?
Your street's worse than hers because our street's this long. We
Right.
don't have time to get the speed up.
it's the way you,
But still, they
it's the
just
way you
feel-
catch this turn coming off the street, and I mean, I'm just looking for solutions.
Yeah, I'm looking for
it's
solutions too.
time.
I'm not knocking the speed bump. I think we looked in the speed bump years ago when Vinnie Moscow was in, and I was on council, and we got shot down from the city attorney and all. They said it was too much liability.
Look, correct me if I'm
When,
wrong.
when the little the detector of the speed, and I know I'm not asking you to monitor, that's not
No.
your job, did it deter them at all? Did you notice?
They hit it.
For a week.
No, prior to hitting it.
I'm gonna go with no.
I think it was a challenge.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
How high can we get the number?
No, that's what my kids would do on their bikes when they had it by my house. They'd be out there and see how fast they could get.
And
And my next door neighbor-
Jefferson Parish put 2 permanent, I guess, speedometer speed notations on River Road, and it hasn't
It doesn't do any
decreased the
good.
speeding at all.
It works for a week.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I was
and
wondering
then
if
it
did
stopped.
Because when you see it, they might say, oh.
Yeah, the first time you drive by them, you think, oh, I just got a ticket, and you slow down. The next time you go by, if you're gonna speed, you realize it.
And in
People speed.
my particular situation, like I said, my granddaughter was on her tricycle in front of my car 30 minutes before this woman took my car out. Now, since then, her insurance dropped her the day of the accident. So I have gotten nothing from her. My insurance had to cover it. I'm out my deductible. I now have a car note that I'm paying that I didn't have before. And this woman walks away scot-free. And nothing's being done to stop these people from flying up and down the street. My son-in-law's PTSD dog got hit in the grass, not on the street. It's getting ridiculous.
All we could do in this situation right here is ask the chief to put extra patrol out. But I'm gonna sit there and tell you, it's not just your street.
It's all over.
every street in Harahan. I mean, I sit in my front yard and I look at the cars, I guarantee they doing 40. We don't have enough policemen to sit everywhere. I'm not knocking the policemen. I believe they're doing their job. I'll be
I do
honest
too.
with you. I seen a policeman on West 2 days ago.
Right.
Just sitting there.
Every street in Harahan has a sharp curve in the middle of that whole block. When they pass that sharp curve, that's when they
They floor it.
Yeah, what concerns.
Ma'am, they do 60 miles an hour down my street sometimes. I'm just gonna let you know.
Where do you live?
Colonial.
On Colonial.
What just concerns.
It's every street. It's not just
Right,
there, I
what concerns
promise
me
you.
just, and that's why I asked Ms. Beverly to come, because what concerns me about this street, as I've been a mayor, it's the worst I've seen so far.
I know 3 accidents right there in the
Yeah,
last
so-
2 years.
Yeah.
We got more traffic on that street than you have out there on Hickory Avenue right now.
I- I-
It's ridiculous.
We're gonna find a solution here, and we're not gonna stop until we get one. And that's why, this is how we're gonna start a discussion and a dialogue, and Ms. Beverly's gonna come to every council meeting on every third Thursday of every month until we find one.
I will be here with her.
Every third Thursday, 7 o'clock.
I
We-
was a
we
school
gonna get
board
one.
crosser for Harahan for 15 years.
Okay.
And I have never ever really had to worry about a child until what's happening now on our block.
You have my word, we're gonna work on it. You have my word and this council's word that we're gonna get you some kind of resolution or solution here, we promise. Because we know it's dangerous, we know it's getting out of control, and we're very aware of it now. And thank you, Ms. Beverly, for, getting on me and making me come out there and spend some time with you. I really appreciate it.
I do have one other question or
Yes, ma'am.
concern to address, and that is those potholes. We showed you the one that was across the street,
Right.
but the one behind my house has sunk again,
So,
and it's in the servitude.
no, that's,
The
area?
drainage servitude?
yeah, it's
Okay.
drainage servitude sinkholes.
Okay.
So, we're gonna come in, so I actually did some homework on your drainage ditch, it's actually called Palmer Ditch.
Kiss up to Dwayne again.
It's a Palmer ditch, and it is a parish ditch, by the way. And our parish official is here right now, so we have done some homework on this one. And it's just so happened that, the timing has been
Timing
amazing.
is good.
That's right.
He texted you to say that.
Thank you.
No,
Ms.
he didn't.
Thank you, Ms. Beverly.
Thank you.
Thank
Would
you.
anyone else like to address the council? Come on.
I'll talk tomorrow to traffic engineering, see if we can have our speed.
Come on up. Let Dwayne come. You gotta introduce yourself, brother. Because I want
Maurizio,
people to
can
know who
you-
you are and all the good you've done.
Dwayne Munch, I'm with Councilman Banana's office. We have a speed trailer that we move around District 2. I'll check and see if we can put it on West coming up. I'm not sure if we can put it in Harahan or not with our traffic engineering department, but if we can, we'll put it out there for a week. It'll slow people down temporarily. Like he said, people get used to something like that, and then they don't, it doesn't bother them. When they realize that it's not giving them a ticket, it goes away. So it's gotta come out again, and then you put it back later. That's why we have mobile trailers.
Yeah, that last one got taken out.
Dwayne,
Other than an actual citation, it's not gonna slow people down. And I can tell you from my history, I'm a reserve police officer in West Wego. My dad's the chief of police over in West Wego. Like, I think Eric said it, the people that speed the most are the people that are on that street. That's it. My dad gets a request all the time. Hey, can you come over here on, say, West Drive in West Wego? The traffic officer gets out there, 3 of the 4 tickets, someone that has West Drive on their driver's license. So that's usually the case.
We had a guy in Harahan Oaks. He came here complaining he got a ticket for running a stop sign. I said, sir, somebody came in complaining to the police department that they need to get out there and write tickets. He says, yeah, it was me. That's his exact comment. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no names, but that was his comment. It was me. It was them kids in the back keep running that stop sign. I said, you running it too? I hear
so
you.
Dwayne, would it be possible for you to talk to the parish's engineering department, because y'all have one, traffic engineers,
Yeah.
and see if they have any comments on speed bumps, effectiveness?
We do not put speed bumps in Jefferson Parish. We will not. It's an insurance liability. We get them requested all the time. We don't do them. It's a non-starter.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to start the discussion of getting something done.
Yeah.
I mean, I really believe there's only one spot in Jefferson Parish with speed bumps. It's by the interstate off of Metairie Road back there, and it's supposed to be a state study. But I mean, I remember when we went through all of this years ago, and we got shot down. Like, well, they got them there, and they're like, yeah, that's the study that proved we can't put them anywhere.
Yeah,
anywhere
like I
else.
said, we get it requested all the time, and it's a non-starter. We won't do it.
And in the next couple of weeks or so, we'll go walk Palmer Ditch, see if we can figure out what's going on back there.
Yeah. And you got to meet him a few weeks ago, Ben Lapine.
That's right.
He is currently now the interim director of a drainage, so he's getting a promotion.
Yeah, and he's
Mitch
awesome.
is our drainage director that's been there forever, who's great. is moving into engineering, you know, kind of getting out of being the boss. He just wants to go back to being an engineer. And Ben Lapine's a great guy, young guy who's stepping up to take over. And he's going to do a really good job. He's the one who got that
Yes, sir.
that thing taken care of on Hickory. I can't take credit.
Quickly.
You know,
Yeah, you got it. Thank you. You got him
Thank
out
you.
there, though. Thank
All right,
you.
guys.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Congratulations on some new kids.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Harahan resident. The house is growing and the family's growing. We're having twins.
Yeah,
Well,
twins,
congratulations.
yeah, congratulations on that. I think.
y'all.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Dwayne.
All right, I'm sorry, Mercy. Hey, thank you.
You're
for
fine.
everything.
And real quick, yeah, Beverly lives on one end of West. She's like 3 or 4 houses, and I live on the other one. So she's right. When you come down, I saw your car was all smashed in. I was like, what happened? I'm like, but yeah, that turn right there where those houses, it narrows because people are parked on both sides. And then on my end, where it turns, when you turn to go in there, there was 3 accidents just right there as people turn. Happened 3 right in front of me and my neighbor's house, Wendy and Victor. So it's like that turn right there. So it's pretty bad in the all the time. So that's why I don't park my car on the street anymore, and then Wendy and Victor don't park their car on
Yeah,
the
I
street
parked my
anymore.
car in my driveway.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna work on it, I promise you. You have my word. And I'm gonna work on your sinkholes with your drainage.
All 4 of them.
Thank you, my love. Thank you for coming out and spending some time with us. Nah, squeaky wheel gets the oil. So. All right, so we'll now close address to council, and we'll move back into the regular agenda. Madam Clerk,
Yeah,
ordinances
you
for
done lost me. I
introduction.
don't even know where we at.
We had ordinances for introduction. Councilman Chatelain.
Ordinances for introduction. Proposed ordinance number 2022-8. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana, debris field renovations. Proposed ordinance number 2022-9, the following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill. An ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022 by creating the Fire Sales Tax Fund and setting the budget for the fund. Proposed ordinance number 2022-10, the following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill, an ordinance amending ordinance number 1925, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022 for the general fund and capital project fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for fire sales tax revenue. Proposed ordinance number 2022-11. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain, an ordinance to transfer $107,951.92 from the Capital Project Fund to the General Operating Fund for the purchase of a John Deere backhoe. Old business. Old business number 1, Board of Adjustment dismissal and appointments.
I emailed everyone earlier this month, letting you know that I'd have a recommendation for an appointment. So I'd like to appoint Mr. Foster Wade. He came up and talked earlier to the Board of Adjustments. Mr. Wade's got some extensive experience and knowledge. He's an engineer, an environmental engineer. The resume is pretty impressive, a Bush appointee to the White House. And he lives here in Harahan. He's retired. He's got nothing else to do, so he'll come do this with us. I see him walking 7 to 8 miles a day.
He walks the streets.
I see him-
He walks the streets.
So,
Oh, yeah.
So I move to appoint Mr.
Both sides of the highway he walks.
Foster Wade, that's right.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to appoint Mr. Foster Wade to the Appeals Board. Anyone want to come speak forth? We'll now open public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, y'all want to discuss it? All right, 5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you, Mr. Wade. You're awesome. Thank you.
I know we already
Thank you.
voted, but I just have one question. Is that taking an empty spot, or is that, oh, we
That's an
bumped
em-
somebody
That's an
off?
empty spot.
Vacant
That's an empty
spot.
spot, yeah.
I didn't know if we had to kick anybody off.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Two,
I mean, we
two,
can-
two actually want to be off. We just got to work
So-
on getting their resignation.
Yeah, so just so you know, you've got, on the board now, you've got Guy Lavin, Paul Jouet, Patrick McDaniel, Richard Kiddock, Andrew Case, and now Mr. Foster Wade. A couple of those still are not showing up consistently, and so if we want to consider removals, then we should do that. Maybe perhaps leave it on the agenda as old business if y'all want to consider attendance at the next meeting.
I say leave it on.
I'd like to leave it on the
Yes,
agenda.
sir.
Okay. So we'll leave under old business, Board of Adjustment, dismissals and appointments, please.
And I would like to just say, Mr. Wade, thank you for agreeing to serve. We appreciate it when residents step up and agree to serve on these boards. As you and I discussed, it's an important board. I think you're extremely qualified, and I'm sure you're going to do very good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Old business number 2. This was a letter received from Police Chief Walker. Please be advised of the results of the recent election for the employee representative to the Civil Service Board. Sergeant David Darwin was one of 3 nominees and won the election held on April 13th, 2022.
All right, we'll now open for public hearing. If anyone want to speak on the Civil Service Board of Adjustments?
Oh, I'm sorry. So on that, we found out that we don't have to vote? We can just do a announcement? Because I know we had that question last meeting.
So after looking at it, and this is, the city attorney was of the opinion that we had to vote, and so was civil service attorney, and so I just deferred it because I wanted more time to look at it
Right.
myself. I do agree that we do have to vote, but before we do that, I mean, you're basically confirming the appointment and confirming the vote. So I'd like to have a report from the chief as far as the process of how the vote was done and that kind of stuff. So I think we have to vote, willing to go to that vote, but I'd like to hear first from the chief on the process of the voting
Okay.
and how that appointment was.
So should we have even brought this up if we're not voting on it yet?
What's that?
You talking about voting on it tonight? Because it was just
If the
talked
chief
about.
wants to
Okay.
provide a report on
Okay.
how the process went, yeah.
I know the process was followed by civil service rules. Secretary handled it. I don't know that everything that was conducted was conducted by the rules of Office of State Examiner.
Carrie, do you want to
The
elaborate?
whole
Or-
process, I was,
Well, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. As the administrator of that department, you've not instilled much confidence in me that personnel matters have been handled correctly. So I want to know from you that you, as the
It was
administrator,
held
followed the
properly.
department.
it was held as required by the Office of State Examiner.
Okay.
Speaking as Civil Service Secretary, I think the vote is like the police department, the police officers nominate who they want for that position. And then they'll have their list of nominees and then they vote based on those nominees.
Carrie, do you know who handled that process? Who
Tallied the votes.
tallied the
It
vote?
sounded
I
like the
believe it was
secretary.
Kathleen Lewis, I believe.
And, yeah. So, I mean, as far
But I
as
mean-
I'm
We're not
concerned,
part
we
of
need a
their
letter from
vote,
them
they just
Right.
give us the
verifying
results.
that they
Because
witnessed the
from
vote.
what
So
my
did the-
understanding is all votes are
Did,
anonymous.
did Keith have any input into the process?
No.
Keith Credo.
Keith
No.
Credo?
Yeah, no,
He didn't object to the process? He didn't comment on it?
no.
I mean, I would just think whoever verified the votes need to just write us a letter.
Chief, did you vote in the election?
I think this is the letter.
That is the letter.
Eric, this is the letter.
I went to the
No, it's the
restroom,
regular,
sorry.
it says regular employees. What is a regular employee?
Yeah, but this is from chief.
Okay, but did you vote in the election? Okay. Was there more than one person nominated?
Yeah.
Okay, what was the vote count of those? Do you know the vote count?
I just
Do you-
think we need something from Kathleen, if she's the one counting the vote. Yeah, I mean, I think we need that.
Y'all want to defer until?
I mean, do y'all agree that's what we need, basically? I mean,
Yeah, and look, and this is not
never
new.
did this
This is not
before.
new. This is the same
They've done it in the
information.
past before on this.
I understand, but this is the same
Yeah.
information I was asking for last month, and it still hasn't been provided, so.
I'll make a motion to defer, but I mean, basically,
Second.
we need to explain to the chief what we're looking for. I mean, if we're looking for a letter from Kathleen with vote counts, or,
Nope, I'm looking for a letter from the chief, because the chief is supposed to call this election and hold this election. I'm looking for a letter from the chief saying that he certifies that these rules were followed. And tell me what the rules were, and tell me the vote count. The chief is supposed to call this election, the chief is supposed to hold this election.
Okay, you want to defer until we get?
I second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to defer, second by Councilman
whoa,
Asbill.
whoa, 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 whoa.
There's a civil service meeting next week, and this is not confirmed, this
Will you have enough for a quorum with the members that are appointed currently?
Has the city appointed their member yet?
Well, he gets sworn in next meeting too.
He gets sworn in at the meeting.
Okay.
Dale will.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to have the
I
meeting,
mean,
but I think basically what we're asking for is a vote count and the chief to sign off saying that he verifies that this went.
This was been produced in the past with the fire department and all that.
We can vote.
I mean,
I think the chief verbally certified on record that he followed all
I
policies.
withdraw my second.
I mean, he followed all policies and procedures. He
Right.
verified it on record. I mean, does it have to be written, or can it just be verified on record as stated?
Verified on record is just good for me.
Yeah? Yeah?
I'll withdraw my motion to
Okay.
defer.
I think we gotta wait for Mr. Buddy to get back.
I know one thing, I'm not gonna speed down West Avenue this week. They gonna be out there. They gonna be out there.
I live right there and I avoid that part.
They even blocking the street, waiting until they can go pick up their kids. I had to actually blow my horn and get out of the vehicle, and then he decided to move to let me go through.
I know,
That's just ridiculous.
But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, on West Avenue, they might need to start parking in their driveways too. A lot of people don't.
No, a lot of people have 2, 3, and 4 cars. My next door
you gotta
neighbor
fire
has
people like-
5
What's wrong
people
with
in that
you?
house, and they got 4 cars. So what he's doing is going into my
They need
side.
more
They
driveways.
don't have no grass there. He's going on my sidewalk, tearing up my sidewalk, so now I'll leave my garbage can there, so he can't do it no more.
Oh, ma'am, you need to pick that garbage can up. You're gonna get a citation. You can't leave your garbage can out for 24 hours.
I don't want, I never pay for that sidewalk. The city doesn't pay for it, I do.
You know what the crazy part? Yeah, yes.
Right, Mr. Walker?
He's summoned. He's sending them out there. Don't worry. He's sending them out there. I promise you that. They coming. Be ready. Hey, watch you don't get a ticket for speeding. Don't start crying if you get a ticket.
Okay, so Mr. Buddy, we have come to the conclusion that Chief Walker has verified on record that all policies and procedures were taken in effect and placed to what it should be as far as this vote being tallied and certified by the police department. And we've determined that that's good enough for us.
I'm good with that.
Okay? We'll call for the
Thank you.
vote.
I'll make a motion to call for the vote.
We have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman.
No.
I mean,
I did
motion
not
by Councilman
motion
Chatelain, second by Councilman Wheeler. To call for the vote. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abstain.
4 yeas, 1 abstention. Thank you, Mr. Darwin. Good luck on the Civil Service Board. Madam Clerk, new business?
New business, since Todd Turnion is not here, we will skip new business number 1. So, new business number 2, Judith Roman, on behalf of St. Rita, asks for your assistance in planning the annual Feast of Corpus Christi procession. The procession is scheduled for Saturday, June 18th, 2022, after the 4 p.m. Mass. In the past, the city of Harahan has been most gracious to provide barricades and/or a police escort as we process around the block. I respectfully request the inclusion of this event on the city council agenda to obtain the necessary approvals.
Okay, we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to come forth to speak about new business number 2? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Chief, are you guys? Yep, Chief's going to handle it.
So we'll drop barricades.
Well, we'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you.
Carrie, we
Your
just need to put a
barricades will be-
memo to have barricades dropped.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Clerk, we done address the council. Secretary's report?
Can we do another address to council,
No,
just
we
in case
don't.
somebody missed it?
No. Secretary's report.
Secretary's report for April 2022, total revenues, $544,655. Reports.
Chief Walker?
Statistics for Harahan Police Department for the month of April 2022. Overall calls for service was 682, 10 accidents, 97 citations issued for 197 different charges.
8 patrol requests. Arrests were 16, narcotics were 18 arrests, 3 of them were felony, 3 misdemeanor, and 5 were city charges. Other arrests were 34. Number of charges were 87. There were 8 felony arrests, 34 misdemeanors, 13 city, and 32 traffic. Persons and property crimes for the month: no murders, no rapes, no robberies, no residential burglaries, no non-residential burglaries, no attempted burglaries, no motor vehicle thefts, no attempted motor vehicle thefts. We had 4 larceny thefts and 4 assaults. Keeping the city safe, and have a happy and safe Memorial Day.
Thank you, Chief.
Chief, do you know how many of these were speeding tickets? He issued 4. Him personally, the chief.
Yeah, he's out there, he gets it done.
So we're gonna get somebody on West?
Chief St. Cyr is absent. Councilman Asbill?
We're gonna get him on West? We're gonna get somebody out on West, do a little radar patrol? You got it. How many?
We're gonna get him. All right, Chatelaine, can we yield the floor to Councilman Asbill? It's his turn for,
I got a strike coming up.
I've got 2 things. First, I just want to remind everybody again, Saturday, May 21st, from 12 to 6:30, the Harahan Music Festival at Zorang Park, which is that little park over by Causes. The street, Camden and Wilson Street, between Hickory and Oak, will be closed down, and possibly a portion of Oak right behind the park, depending on the stage setup. Come on out, enjoy free music, bring some canned goods, or a donation for the St. Rita Food Pantry. The other thing I have, just want to bring it up to the public on, right now, you know, everybody's going through redistricting issues because of the last census, and the school district has a redistricting issue up, and I just wanted to bring it to the public's. One of the plans would actually, and I want you to reach out to your school board member if you feel passionate about it like I do, but one of the plans would create, all of the plans create 11 districts. We currently have 9. One of the plans would create 7 minority districts, whereas the parish is still a majority population parish. It would create more, it would create 7 minority parishes, so more minority parishes than majority parishes. So I'd encourage you to reach out to your school board member, and if you'd like more information on that, I'm happy to talk to you about it.
7 minority
7
districts?
minority out of 11 districts, correct.
And increase the number of
yeah,
representatives also,
That's
correct?
correct. It increases, all 3 plans increase the number of school board members by 2. 2 of the plans have, create 4 minority districts, to me, which is reasonable, considering the population of the parish. However, one of those plans, which is strongly being considered, creates 7 of the 11 minority districts, which would substantially change the makeup of our school board. And whether you have kids in the school system or not, schools absolutely affect the development and how our parish moves forward. So I'd encourage you to reach out to somebody about that. Thank you.
Councilman Bodie?
Thank you, Councilman Asbill. I wasn't aware of some of those things. Other than that, I don't have any comments. Thank you, folks, for attending.
Councilman Chatelain?
Guys, I just want to wish my good friend Councilman Wheel a happy birthday. Last week, she turned
29?
29. I thought it was 28, 29.
38. 38.
Happy birthday.
And everybody have a good night.
Councilman Johnston?
Happy Memorial Day.
Councilman Wheeler?
So I would like to wish my husband, today is his birthday. So I want to wish him a happy birthday. Also, my godchild and wonderful niece, Ella Jennings, is graduating with honors from Dominican on Saturday. I know there's a lot of Harahan residents, everybody's graduating, God bless them all, congrats. A little biased, I'll be an emotional wreck, I have no doubt, and have a happy Memorial Day.
Well, just so you guys know, we do have a saint in Harahan. His name's Jody Wheeler. Happy birthday to Saint Jody Wheeler, because he's a very special human. And then happy birthday to you, my love, as well. I know you're only 29. Don't let him bully you.
Exactly.
I'd also like to thank Bernie. Bernie, I know Bernie is his dad, his grandfather. Y'all, yeah, Bernie.
Just Bernie.
We call him B3 because I knew his dad. He was so scary. I mean, his grandpa was so scary, it's unbelievable. We never even go by his house. Used to well aluminum flatboats in his backyard back there. And then, of course, I went to school with your dad. And then I've got to meet you along the way, and man, what a great person you've become, and he's a friend to this city, you guys. So I want to thank him for sitting in for Scott Stansberry, who's traveling all over Italy. And I just I did warn him that if B3 came here and did a better job, he better be paying attention because his job might be in jeopardy.
So Scott got married, and he's on his honeymoon.
Yep.
Congratulations to Scott.
I'd like to remind us all to honor our veterans on Memorial Day. You know, this is a holiday where we remember our fallen, and it's something that people pay the ultimate sacrifice to have the freedom, and just for us to even be able to have this council meeting tonight. So I'd like to remember that we honor our fallen on Memorial Day. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Father's Day, and I'd love to actually send a special thank you to my
We'll have another
beautiful
meeting
wife
before
for coming out to come attend this council meeting with me. She is incredible for putting up with me. Thank you, my love.
Saint Monica.
Y'all have a good night. We have two saints in Harahan, y'all, Jody Wheeler and Monica Bodier. So thank you, guys. Have a good night, Madam Clerk.
Pay bills. Bills paid in April 2022, total expenditures $310,793.93. No executive session, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman
Second.
Johnson. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay. We are adjourned.